The first maxim of our politics ought to be to lead the people by means of reason, and the enemies of the people by terror. If the basis of popular government in time of peace is virtue, the basis of popular government in time of revolution is both virtue and terror. Virtue without terror is murderous. Terror without which virtue is powerless. Terror is nothing else than swift, severe, indomitable justice. It flows, then, from virtue.
In 1793, Robespierre seized control of the Committee of Public Safety and began his reign of terror. During this time, the people of France lived in constant fear. Anyone thought to be against the revolution was swiftly disposed of, leading to the deaths of thousands of people, some of whom hadn't even committed any crimes. There were also violent mobs that would inflict their own justice throughout the streets of Paris.
I was in line for some bread, thinking about the increase in its price, and I mentioned to mon ami that I would like a higher fixed wage. The next thing I knew, a mob sans-culottes started attacking me. Others joined in, and it soon became a mess of people just attacking each other. I barely escaped with my life. It made me feel as though the government didn't care about my opinion, only wanting absolute support from the people. But I love the government. They're really fantastic and doing a great job. Viva la Révolution! Please, don't let them kill.
Anyway, most of the people who were executed during the revolution were peasants and poor workers, who had originally been the reason behind the revolution. This was all because Robespierre believed terror was needed to control enemies of the revolution, even though many of the people executed had not done anything even close to the treason they were accused of.
So, apparently I'm being executed today, and I'm not even completely sure why. I mean, I remember going to my trial, but I think they said something about a tree of liberté. It was hard to understand them. Everyone was yelling. There was so much noise. But I'm being executed this afternoon, so guess I'm finally getting that haircut I wanted.
Eventually, the members of the Committee of Public Safety grew worried for their own lives and turned on Robespierre. Ironically, he was executed in the same way he had executed so many enemies of the revolution before him, by the swift justice of the guillotine. But what would have happened if Robespierre had never come to power? Well, for one, the churches of France would not have been destroyed, and the calendar wouldn't have been changed, which would give the National Convention more support from France's Catholics. France also wouldn't have had to deal with Robespierre's policies that only caused more death and destruction, like his 6 points. And without his interference, perhaps the Committee of Public Safety could have actually helped France's citizens, and the National Assembly could have fixed any problems in the government.
I was walking down the street, and I mentioned to mon ami that I would like a higher fixed wage. He agreed, and we took it up with the Committee of Complaints, the National Committee to assuage the tension between radicals and conservatives. It was great. I felt heard by my government, and they are taking it to a vote next week. They are doing such a fantastic job. Viva la République!
Without the reign of terror destabilizing the country, France is able to form a very stable government over the next few years, one that gives more power to the people and eases some of the tension between political groups with opposing views. Because of this well-functioning government, when Napoleon Bonaparte attempts a coup in 1799, he fails.
Well, I'm a member of the National Convention. I'd have to say I'm only at where I am right now because of this one tree I cut down for kindling in the middle of winter. After surviving the harsh cold, I decided I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to help the people of France. And what better way than through the National Convention? I've been strengthening and reorganizing France's government for some time, though we're not perfect. Apparently, Napoleon thought he would do a better job ruling France, but we saw Napoleon's coup coming from miles away, and it was easy to thwart him. Actually, he's being executed this afternoon. It should be a fun time.
So maybe France would have been better without Robespierre and his reign of terror. Thousands of deaths could have been prevented, and France might have established a better functioning democratic government. Though without Robespierre's harsh rule, we wouldn't have the society we have now. So really, I must ask, is horror from the past necessary for peace in the future?